One dude's like, "Where?"
There we go. We got audio now.
All right, we should have audio now. We reset the router. We restarted the computer. Kevin clicked a button that he should have apparently clicked.
The funny thing is,
audio's good now. Buzz says.
Yeah, we don't change settings to the OBS.
Yeah, but if you unplug something and plug it back in,
I don't.
But
I
you did.
never unplug
Somebody
it.
did.
Well, I had to go back in. And
You know what it is? Gremlins.
Something. I don't know, man. Anyway, we have audio now.
Good stuff, guys. Thank you for letting us know.
Yeah, we didn't know. So, yeah, the thing is that week one was fabulous in a lot of ways. You know, we saw Jameis do amazing things week one.
We did.
I did see the meme that had a tombstone that had Jameis Winston MVP run, and it was Sunday to Sunday.
I don't think it's over.
Nah, I don't think so.
I don't
either.
think it's over. You're allowed a bad game or two.
Yeah, I mean,
listen, Mahomes didn't have the greatest game.
Look at Aaron Rodgers week one.
Yeah.
Look at Aaron Rodgers week two. Let me tell you something.
Well, that was more Aaron Jones than it was Aaron Rodgers.
Well,
But
yeah. Speaking of Aaron Jones,
yeah.
so Brian Lyon, I was going up against him week two in the NBNFL league. And week one, you had taken care of him. And during the week, he's like, I have another fantasy football guy this week.
Right.
And we're all in the same division.
We are.
So I was down by like 20 points going into that game. And I had Aaron Jones.
You had Aaron too?
I did not have Aaron. I just had Aaron Jones.
Well, he's an Aaron too.
Aaron, that's true.
Number of dudes.
Yeah. So, and he had Tanya. So you saw like 3 touchdowns in. I'm like, I'm good. I'm up. And then Tanya catches a touchdown. I'm like, damn, there's no way he's going to score a 4th touchdown.
Guess what?
He did.
You might want to change your name, Brian Lyon. Maybe change it to, something like mid-level.
So I sent him a text on Tuesday, and it was like,
very gracious of you.
Once again, you got TFFG'd.
2 weeks in a row.
And he said, stupid Lions. That was it. That was all there was.
Well, what are you going to do?
So not only...
And it was against his team, too.
Against
That's
his team.
Awful.
Not only did he lose to me, he lost because his Lions suck.
I don't know if you saw this, but somebody had a $25 every game parlay going in Vegas. Right.
And they needed the Lions
to win. And when I looked at it, the Lions were up 17-14.
Right.
So I was like, dude, this might happen, but I was like, I don't care. I don't have anybody going tonight. I'm going to bed. I'll read about it tomorrow. I got up. The Lions didn't score another point.
They did not. They did not score a second half point.
So I thought that was brilliant.
Can you imagine counting on the Lions on a Monday night in Green Bay?
Negative. But,
dude,
he would have made that guy who bet, or woman, who bet $25.
Guy is gender non-specific.
Correct.
In 2021.
Would have made like $725,000
on a $25 bet.
Yeah, if the Lions would have won.
So instead of that, he just lost $25.
True, but can you imagine being that person?
Talk about anxiety,
dude. You're watching that game. The Lions go up halftime. You're like, I'm cooking with gas.
Oh yeah, and they're basically having their way with the Packers defense.
And then they pull the Lions.
As they do.
All
right. Kenny Golladay was limited today, practice with a hip. There are a lot of hip injuries today, I noticed. Josh Jacobs, if you're counting on him, Josh Jacobs, for this Sunday, he's got an ankle, didn't practice today, was out last week.
I'm not counting on him, but
keep an eye on that.
I'd like him.
I'd really, really like him to play, of course. Saquon Barkley and his knee limited today in practice. Rashad Penny will not play in Week 3 against the Vikings. Is it time for them to just pull the plug on that and clap out?
Probably.
I mean, all the talent in the world.
For sure, but at some point you got to walk away.
You should think so. 49ers signed another running back to the practice squad, Chris Thompson, late of the Washington football team, back when they were called something else, Lyle.
They were.
Yeah, he's on the practice squad.
I'm definitely going to say that team name a whole bunch of times.
At some point, yeah.
Probably for the foreseeable future.
I still say the San Diego Chargers. I was writing on my research today and I was like, San Diego Chargers.
Yep.
I was like,
I do it too. I still say Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, I've been known to do that.
I mean, come on, Vegas? Who says Vegas?
I don't know.
People who do it for a living?
Probably.
That's not us.
Not us. Derek Carr practiced in full today, ready to go for Week 3.
NFL passing leader Derek Carr. Give him his props. May not last, but currently he's the front runner for MVP.
Well,
dude,
I think Brady might have something to say about that.
Okay, fine, but he's got the numbers. He's in the conversation after week 2.
He is.
Hey, it might not be, long for this world, but right now, Derek Carr is in the conversation for MVP week 2.
Hey, he's been playing out of his mind,
for
quite frankly.
sure, dude. He was crazy.
Well, the thing is he actually has a running game now.
He does.
He does have receivers that can catch the ball when he throws it to them.
Apparently.
He's got a really good tight end.
Yeah.
The line looks like they're blocking for him.
It's 2 games.
Sometimes that's all you need.
It's 2 games.
I know.
And one went into OT. So
it was against a pretty good team.
Sure, but I'm just saying,
Not ready to hang a jacket on the guy's shoulders quite yet.
I'd be surprised if he ends up in the top 5, but he may be top 10 based on what that offense is doing. He may be.
Top 10 would be a career year for him.
For sure.
Trey Sermon has a concussion. He was limited today. I don't know how limited you can be with a concussion when he's standing on the sideline.
I don't know.
Talking to a coach. Elijah Mitchell's shoulder kept him out of practice today. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has a non-COVID illness. I love how they have to specify that it's not COVID.
Right, but he's sick.
Dude just ate a bad shrimp, is all we're saying.
He's got the trots.
Yeah. He's got the Lamar Jacksons, if you recall that from last year.
Oh, yeah.
Odell Beckham Jr. and his knee was a full go at practice today.
Oh, good for him.
Says the coach. T. Higgins is, I don't know, he missed practice today. He's considered day-to-day, but nobody's really saying what the issue is.
All
It's
right.
mysterious. We'll see. Antonio Gibson and his shoulder limited in practice today. Tyrell Williams has a concussion ruled out for this week. If you're counting on Tyrell for the Lions, you probably have problems. James O'Shagnasty on IR due to an ankle. I don't know if it's IR return or what it is, but either way, he's not going to happen. Justin Fields going to be starting for the Bears.
Looks
week
like
3.
old Andy is.
He's got a bone bruise.
I'm excited about it. I mean, I feel bad for Andy Dalton though. He just can't catch a break.
You sucked that pint down already?
Yeah.
Good Lord, son.
Yeah, it's 4%. Tastes like a Guinness. This one's going to go fast too.
That's going to taste very much like a Guinness. So everybody's been saying Justin Fields needs to start. He did not look good in bump-up duty last week. We'll see what he looks like this week once he gets all the snaps in practice, blah, blah, blah. The Will Fuller 5 did practice.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yada, yada, yada.
Killer fantasy analysis from
hard-hitting analysis. The Will Fuller 5 practiced today for the Dolphins. That's pretty good. The bad news is no Tua. Or wait, maybe the good news is no Tua.
Yeah, no, he's got a bruised rib.
Broken rib.
Is it broken?
Yeah, they found a fracture.
Okay. Last I heard it was just bruised.
Carson Wentz has 2 sprained ankles.
2 bad ankles.
Still experiencing soreness. So
he's got 2 high ankle sprains.
No, they're not high ankle sprains.
They're not high?
They're just
low?
They're just regular ankle sprains.
They're regular? Okay. Well, he can play. Let's tape that up.
So he's undergoing treatment for this, hoping to be able to start on Sunday.
Well, that's my first game, so it's going to all hinge on him whether you even consider playing a Colt.
Sure. So apparently Roethlisberger got injured last week.
He did.
And
shoulder.
Like a pec or something anyway. So
no, I think it's a shoulder.
So basically, no, it says right here pec. So basically there was an issue with a teammate not helping him up. Like for some, usually when one of your ball carriers is on the ground, quarterback, whatever, one of the linemen, whatever,
everybody
gives a guy a push up or a pull up.
Yep.
Apparently that didn't happen.
Uh-oh.
And there was an issue.
Trouble in paradise.
So I did see an article questioning whether or not this is the beginning of the end for Ben in Pittsburgh.
It's not the beginning of the end. It's the end of the end.
Yeah, I think it's the middle of the end. I think he stays on the roster for the rest of the year, but...
Sure, but he's not going to play another year in Pittsburgh.
Oh, good God, no. I think he knew that. I think this is the Bye Ben tour.
That's it.
But, I mean, Haskins looked good in preseason.
He did. Mason Rudolph is still the number 2, right?
Yeah.
He's still the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, when I looked up the depth chart, he was listed as number 2.
He is.
That doesn't mean that they'll start him over Haskins, but
Right. Like I have a feeling if Hurts goes down, they're not going to start Flacco. I think they're going to bring Minshew in.
Maybe.
Even though he's not making the 53 on Sundays, if it's, between Flacco or Minshew to start, I think the offense is more Minshew centric.
Sure, but if everybody's healthy on Sunday, Minshew's inactive.
Yeah, he's in
So they can bring somebody else on, and Flacco's the veteran backup.
right. And
I get you, but, you know.
And if Flacco goes down, Greg Ward steps in.
For sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown is on the reserve COVID list.
Yeah.
Russell Gage has an ankle.
So AB needs 2 negative COVID tests 24 hours apart before he can play on Sunday, right?
That's correct.
So he tested positive. I wonder if he's vaccinated.
So I don't know if he tested positive or not. I think, because it's like, even if you're in a room with somebody who's positive, then you have to.
Fair enough. Yeah, I forgot about those rules.
So my son Jamie plays cymbals in the University of Delaware marching band. I don't know if anybody knows that. Young James Boy producer. So there's like 14 cymbal players in this band. It's a big band. So one of the kids tested positive for COVID. And
so all the cymbal players are.
Well, everybody, you have to be vaccinated to be on campus, right?
So
he had to get a test, and he was negative, and then 24 hours later, he got another test, and again negative.
Do they supply those tests?
No, I think it's college. I think they're free. You go to the student center.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. So, but you can if you want to go to a pharmacy.
For sure. Yeah. I was just wondering if they come around and test them, or if you have to go somewhere specifically.
There's somewhere you have to go, but I think it's free.
All right, Kevin. Jesus.
What?
Can we get to games? You just seem aggressive about it. That's all I'm saying. He's a little aggressive.
I think maybe you're a little sensitive.
Have you known me to be sensitive?
I've known you to pretend to be sensitive, which is what I think we got going on right here.
Guilty.
All right, so we go to the games.
All right. Dude, week 3. How you doing? I got 1-0-2.
I do not have any 0-2.
I got 1-0-2, but I got week 1 was bad. I went up against the number 1 team, and I was number 2.
That's not true. I do have 1-0-2 in a work league.
Yeah.
I shouldn't. My team is stacked.
I got 1-2-0 in the TFFG Money League. I'm 2-0. And I got a bunch of 1-1s.
Is that why you sent me the RIP? Because you beat me in the Money League?
Yeah.
Okay. I figured it was that, but I wasn't going to.
No, I was happy about it, though.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean.
But I wasn't going to acknowledge
You won
it.
the bet, though.
I did win the bet.
I do owe you a Finsky.
I thought you would bet.
No, it was Callaway.
Yeah, I thought it was.
You still won it, though.
I'm sure I did. Patrick had a touchdown and like 13 points. I don't think.
Callaway did not do that. But
so
let's
I'm up to Finsky.
Let's keep a running tab. Just write it down somewhere. I owe you 5.
Right here, bro.
Okay.
I'm sure we will.
All right, cool.
Add to that on.
Yeah,
on
it's
Saturday.
better. It's better at the end of the year if
you stiff me at wall at once as opposed to week by week.
Stiff you. When have I ever done that? I would never do that.
That's okay. I have access to a bank account with your money in it, so
I'd rather owe it to you than
cheat
beat
you
you
out of it. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So the week 3 Panthers at Texans. Panthers favored in this bad boy by 7 and a hook, bro.
It's probably a good bet. Ty God was playing out of his mind.
Yes, they actually won their first game, and he was actually really playing well before his hammy. Well.
I just saw somebody in our chat was like, "Yo, he looked like Michael Vick." He didn't look like Michael Vick.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, he looked like Vick, but he looked really good.
He looked like the best version of himself.
I wish we could see that guy on a team that was dedicated to him and he was healthy. I think he'd be a really good quarterback.
I saw a thing that said if Tyrod Taylor next year is on a team that has a rookie quarterback, he needs to
just bail.
No, bail out of game 2, whatever it is, because the last 3 years in game 2,
yeah,
because he was a Cleveland.
Last year wasn't even his fault.
He was the Cleveland Browns quarterback 2 years ago.
Yes, he was.
Game 2. He gets hurt, out, here comes Baker. He never sees the field again.
Yep.
Last year, he's a starting quarterback for the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles.
Yes.
He gets plugged with a little Novocaine or whatever in a rib.
Punctures his lung.
Gets his lung. He's out. Justin Herbert comes in. You know the story.
Rookie of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
this
good.
year, yeah. Plays really well first game.
Really well.
Second game, playing really
team
well.
Nobody gave any shot to.
Sure.
And he's playing good football.
And he's just trotting to the end zone, I think. And the leg.
Hammy.
Yeah. So Careful, Tyrod. Next year.
Well, the good news is
Week two,
they were
buddy.
just like, yeah, Deshaun Watson's not playing. So
Yeah,
I think we'll see Tyrod again this season.
we're gonna bring somebody up from the practice squad.
Yeah, which is, guy handing out waters.
So, dude, I got to tell you, I'm on the Sam Darnold train here. I know it sounds weird.
No, me too.
And I don't know if it's coaching or if it's just the jet effect.
That's what it is.
I mean, let's tell the truth here. I don't know what it is, but
I said this last week.
Something about North Jersey because the Giants kind of suck.
I know, but we were talking about Mark Sanchez and the butt fumble and all that kind of stuff last week.
Yeah,
this is an organization, in speaking about the Jets, that just consistently fails. They're not even mediocre. It's kind of the Lions are the same way. They've been bad forever. At some point, the owner has to just go, everybody's fired. Everybody.
Well, it could be partially the owner's fault. Look at the Washington football team. A lot of it has to do with Snyder.
If same thing with Dallas. I think that Dallas could be, and I hate to say it because I hate the Cowboys, but if I'm being like honest,
long live Jerry Jones.
Yeah, if I'm being honest and legit, I think that they could be a dominant force in the NFC if it weren't for Jerry Jones. We see that happening now in Vegas with the Raiders, right? Al Davis, I think, got in the way for a long time.
Toward the end, especially. You remember the whole Lane Kiffin thing, talking about how, I think it was Jamarcus Russell, that he's a great quarterback. He's great. And Lane Kiffin was like, this guy's
How
such
much
an
money
anchor.
did they pay that guy? And by the way, I'm not hating on you, Jamarcus. Good for you, man. Get paid. But good God.
Yeah.
He had like one decent game in the NFL. I actually had a conversation.
It was against the Eagles.
It was against the Eagles. I actually had a conversation about somebody about this, and they brought up the stats, and his stats weren't even that good. He had one good drive.
Yeah, that's all he needed to
and it beat the Eagles.
Beat the Eagles back then. Anyway, so Sam Darnold leaves the Jets in his rear view, comes to Carolina, and it's not like the dude's about to win MVP or anything.
Well, here's the other thing. The Carolina defense is actually number one in the NFL right now.
They are.
And
absolutely.
I don't know if they're legit yet.
Well, they really haven't played anybody. They played the Jets and they played New Orleans, but New Orleans won a game the week before.
But they have looked really, really good.
Indeed.
So we'll see.
So actually, for one of the first times in 17 years, I've actually got them on the list to play. I picked them up.
Bro,
they were available.
Bro, I targeted them in every league.
Yeah. So anyway,
who do they play this week?
They play against Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Tyrell playing?
He is not.
Is Deshaun Watson playing?
He is not.
Yeah. Play the Carolina Panthers this week. They're the top scoring, not only they're the best defense in the NFL right now, they're the top scoring fantasy defense in the NFL right now. And they're playing against a team.
They're not often the same thing.
No.
No.
They're playing against a team that's got some trouble at the quarterback position. Anyway, go ahead.
I've heard this. Anyway, so Darnold's rating's right around 100. He's 279, 305. Did have a couple picks. I'm sorry, did have one pick last week against New Orleans. But dude's got 3 touchdowns on the year. Great matchup this week. Big thumbs up. Not 3 thumbs up because it's Sam Darnold. 2 games is not going to trend me. But
so only 2?
Only 2.
I'm right.
So I'm all over that. But
he kept his left hand in his pocket.
For some reason, dude, and I don't know why this is, but DJ Moore has never really gotten respect in the NFL fantasy-wise.
He doesn't go, but like we expect a little bit more, and he never gets there.
But if you're looking, I mean, I've said this before. He was I think he was number like 22 or something last year.
He was top 25. But if you say this guy's a top 25 something, I'm like, cool.
He's a wide receiver too.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I want him to be a 1. I think he's got 1 talent.
He probably does. But the problem is that he's been on the same team with Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
And the offense runs through that dude.
And it should.
Right. But,
he's the best running back in the NFL.
Week 1,
complete.
6 out of 8 targets, 80 yards, no end zone. Last week, 8 of 11 targets, did get a touchdown and 79 yards.
He's playable.
Right. So in a PPR, he's absolutely in. He's at least a flex, but he's on the starting roster. I'm not excited, but the guy is consistent. He's been consistent.
He's good.
He's not going to give you, a 4 or 3 touchdown game. He's not Randy Moss, obviously. But for that flex or that wide receiver 3, especially in a DraftKings.
Yes,
he's not the apex. He's not
one of the best wide receivers ever.
Not
Thank
Jerry
you, Kevin.
Rice. He's not Steve Largent.
He's not Fred Biletnikoff.
I don't know if Freddie was good if he just had too much stickum on his hands.
Probably
the
both.
ball got near him. It just
He had to get open.
He did.
I guess.
He was a great route runner.
He was.
I'm not sure he had a bunch of speed. So yeah, I love. Obviously, you're going to play Christian McCaffrey. Absolutely play DJ Moore. Robbie Anderson, to me, I think he had 4 targets, caught to him for 22 yards last week.
Yeah, a week before he caught the bomb.
Right, and that was it.
For a sneak. He's a roll of the dice DraftKings or daily and a roll of the dice flex if you have injury problems or when we get to bye weeks. That's it.
Right. Now, great matchup this week. So, for a wide receiver 3 in a daily fantasy, okay. Dan Ardle is one of those touchdown reliant guys who rarely gets one. He did last week. Okay, fine. Not a big fan. Absolutely start the Carolina D. Pick them up if you can. Start them. They're going to be the most expensive defense in daily fantasy, but
probably
might be worth it if you can do that.
Against without Tyrod there, dude, this is going to be a field day.
It's the Davis Mills show, kids.
Watch him just come in and just pull a Brady.
Well, in mop-up duty last week, right? The dude was 8 for 18, had a $1.2, had a touchdown, and had a pick.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean...
Middling, but he didn't have the whole week to prepare, really.
I don't think it matters.
He's preparing for the first team.
You going to start him?
I'm starting him.
Are you? Okay.
You want to put money on it?
Oh, wait, what's the over-under on points for Davis Mills?
5.
I'll take the under.
Okay.
Yeah, I bet you would.
I'll take 5.
Not really a whole lot here you're going to love. I mean, the receivers are banged up. You got Brandon Cooks, who is, of course, going to play because it doesn't really matter who's throwing in the ball or what team it is. Dude had a $132 week 1, 78 last week and a touchdown. In a PPR, he's a monster. It doesn't matter what team he's on. You got to start Brandon Cooks. And that's pretty much it. I mean, Mark Ingram, I guess, is playable, but, with the fact that they're going to stack the box against Davis Mills, Ingram probably won't be able to get out of his own way. So, for the Houston Texans, it's Brandon Cooks, and that's it.
Fair enough, Kevin. We're going to talk about the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee giving up 5 in this one, and I swear to you, it's not enough.
Well, if Carson plays...
I don't think it's enough anyway.
Yeah,
I think the Colts go 0-3. Anyway, let's talk about Carson Wentz and his 2 bad ankles. He was okay week 1. He was okay less week 2. Turnover
Did you
in each
watch
game.
the play?
I did.
Did you watch his play? I mean, really, he didn't play well early. He had a shovel pass that got picked off, which was weird.
It was embarrassing.
It was. But really, after that, the dude is a magician. He should not be able to do what he does, given the quote-unquote lack of talent the guy has.
What he should do is take a 3-step drop, make a read, and throw the football.
He should.
He doesn't do that.
He doesn't.
That's the part that bothers me. Honestly, Tennessee's D has not played well this year.
Honestly, outside of Derrick Henry, Tennessee's hasn't played that well either.
For sure. But even if he plays, which I don't think he will, even if he plays, I don't recommend him. And Eason's coming in. Jacob Eason could be the starter. He came in relief duty, completed 2 passes on 5 attempts for 40 yards and a pick. So that's a hard pass. Jonathan Taylor, I would like to recommend on a weekly basis, but they got to get him more involved. Week 1,
I hear they're trying to get him more involved.
I know, Marlon Mack too. Week 1, he had 17 carries for 56, caught 6 passes on 7 targets for 60 yards. I love that. That's what I'm talking about.
If you can do that.
Week 2, 15 carries for 51 yards. Again, you're still looking at 3.5 average. Okay, let's get him the football in space. 1 target, 1 catch, 2 yards. That kills me.
It does.
So if Wentz plays, I bench this guy. I do. I know you drafted him high, but I would bench him anyway.
Honestly, if Wentz doesn't play...
if Wentz doesn't play, I would bench this guy.
I bench everybody if Wentz doesn't play.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Nyheim Hines, a similar story. Week 1 was slightly better than week 2, but no touchdowns. and he's a flex at best. Hopefully you have better. Pittman had a big game week 2. That was awesome to see. 12 targets, 8 catches, buck 23, had the 42-yard long bomb. But still hasn't gotten in the end zone. Zach Pascal has been doing that, which, dude, if Wentz plays and they say, yeah, he's probably, I might stick him in a flex, and certainly in a daily league, where he's got 3 touchdowns over 2 games. I can't ignore that. Okay, but he has 11 targets over 2 games. It's not as much as Pittman. I'd like to see what happens when Paris Campbell gets back. He's banged up. How that whole rotation is going to shake out. But right now, honestly, I kind of got to bench everybody because I think Carson Wentz is probably not going to play. If he does play, I'd play Pascal and I'd play Taylor, and that's it. From the Tennessee side, Ryan Tannehill, we were telling you guys, don't worry. It's fine. It might not be fine.
Yeah, it might not be.
Because week 2 against Seattle,
it turns out.
they did win the game, and he had 347 yards, but he did not throw a touchdown. So he's got 1 touchdown, 1 pick over 2 games. He did run 1 in week 1, so good for him. But he's also lost 3 fumbles.
Oof, that's bad.
Yeah. I would still play him in this one, but guys, we might have been wrong about Tannehill. I'm just saying.
Well,
I love
it's what we've seen before out of the dude, so.
For sure. I'm sure he'll bounce back. And they finally figured out in the second half last week that they need to give the football to Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
So thank God they did that. 35 carries.
Oh, wait, we have
182 yards, including a 60-yarder. Also, he caught 6 passes on 6 targets.
That's a career high, ladies and gentlemen.
55 there. So another 200-plus yard game. Obviously, you're going to play him irregardless, Kevin.
Indeed.
A.J. Brown, I still want to see it again as Tannehill goes. The receivers will. 8 targets week 1, 9 week 2. Similar yardage numbers. He did catch the touchdown week 1, but I want a little bit more. I think you have to play him, but it hurts a little bit, and here's why it hurts. Julio stepped up in a big way last week. I think they blanketed A.J. Brown. They were like, the old guy can't do anything. 8 targets, 6 catches, a buck 28. I think he's a good WR2 or a flex. Not that you were going to play the tight ends, but Fersker got hurt. And
I think Ferkser is playable, but
that's
pretty much it.
Yeah.
Is that it for you?
Yeah.
All right, so we have the Arizona Cardinals traveling east to play the Jags. I'm shocked it's only a 7.5 spread here. The Cardinals only given 7.5. Maybe it's the fact that they're on the road. I don't know. Anyway, Kyler Murray's the top quarterback in fantasy. So if you got that dude, you're lucky enough to have that guy. Of course you're playing him. If you have DeAndre, you're going to play him, of course. Dude, I got to tell you, I haven't been all that impressed with Chase Edmonds, right? He catches 4 or 5 passes a game, but the yards aren't there. The touchdowns aren't there. And we were thinking, well, maybe Connors is going to take some of his carries, and he's taking minimal. Right. It's just that, this is what Chase Edmonds is. He's going to get you 40, 50, 60 yards on the ground.
But that's not what he was when he
30
came
or
into
40.
the league. It makes me crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason for this, and he's double-digit fantasy scoring in a half-point PPR or better. So he's certainly at least flexible or RB2-ish in a PPR. But I think the reason that he's not really performing as well as you would think he would is because the receivers on this team are just going out of their damn minds. So we know what DeAndre Hopkins does, right? So week 1, Christian Kirk, he throws up 2 touchdowns on 5 catches, 70 yards there. So that was their week 1, right? Rondale Moore last week, 114 yards and a touchdown on 7 catches.
I love him.
Right? Yep. A.J. Green caught it. Remember him from the Bengals?
Oh, yeah.
Tall guy, skinny?
Yeah,
caught a touchdown pass.
Rings a bell.
Yeah. Only had 6 targets, 3 catches. But, again, this is obviously a pass-first team, and the best running back on the field is the quarterback, as we know. So,
again, we want to talk about people that are in the running for MVP.
Oh, that dude is
Kyler Murray's probably number 1 right now.
Yeah, he's up there like this.
Brady's number 2, and then probably.
So I'll flex Chase. Obviously, going to start DeAndre Hopkins, Kirk, Rondale Moore. either of those guys in a flex.
So here's the thing with Rondell Moore. He'll probably not do anything this week, right? But you can't ignore him.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's why you have those, especially
now defenses are going to be like, hey, where's that little dude?
Well, yeah, but then you also have to pay attention to Kirk.
6'5". I don't know.
I don't know either. Kirk and A.J. Green and DeAndre Hopkins. It's not like, you can
for sure
you can focus on any of these guys.
Sure.
So
and by the way, Kyler Murray.
Yeah,
you can't. You got to leave somebody around because he'll just run.
You can't stack the box. You got too much going on the back end. You can't, double deep, because then he'll just scamper out and get a first down, whatever. So, dude, I like the way this team is playing. If I have any of these receivers, I strongly consider putting them in at least a flex. Nothing happening with these tight ends, obviously. Tight end seems to be a really tough position in the past, 5 years or so. From the Jaguars, I've only got one guy, and that guy is Marvin Jones.
He's been consistent somehow.
Touchdown each of the last two.
Yep.
That would be every game this season.
Yep.
Hasn't hit the 100 mark yet, but he's a 77 and 55.
He's a WR2 or a flex.
Five or six catches, into mid double digits each week in a half-point PPR. And he's really the only guy on this team. You could say Robinson, but no. I saw a stat that Trevor Lawrence has almost over a third of his passes are deemed uncatchable.
Really?
Yeah. And
we'll see. I mean, it takes time.
Sorry, guys.
It takes time in the NFL. I mean,
it does.
We have this you have to be good right away attitude, and I think that's incorrect.
Well, we've seen guys do it, and Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be the second coming. So I think the high expectations, number one pick, all that. I also saw a thing where Urban Meyer told Vic Fangio that being in the NFL is kind of like playing Alabama every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly what it is.
Exactly like that.
Yeah. So
sorry. Welcome to the NFL. Indeed. I mean, you know who else was the number one pick, bro? Jameis Winston, number one overall. Okay. You can have success in the NFL and still not be great. Jameis Winston's okay.
Remember Sam Bradford? You know how much money that dude pulled out of this league and never really caught on, quote unquote?
It's true. A lot of number one picks.
Derek Carr's brother David, now an NFL Network analyst.
Yep.
He made a ton of money.
He was a great quarterback. He played at Houston, I think.
Yeah, he was Houston's first ever pick.
Yeah. And
he was just beat up.
Yeah, I mean, he was good though.
He was real good.
It's weird.
But you get on a expansion team, you're going to suck.
Yes.
Just by default.
Indeed.
And he just never called on anywhere. Now, they say Super Bowl champion. He was like a backup on one of the Giants Super Bowl teams.
Yep.
That counts. I mean,
you got a ring. I wouldn't, dude. If I was the ball boy on that team and I got a ring, I'd show everyone.
I'd be like Gruden, knock knock.
Yeah, I'd be like, y'all see this? By the way, DPU Chem, thank you for the 2 months, bro.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
And Captain TKO said, would you give up J.D. McKissick for Josh Allen? Yes.
Give up J.D. McKissick to get Josh Allen?
Yes. Oh, hell yeah. 100%. Let's talk about...
and more.
Yeah, for real. Bengals, Steelers, bro. Big kind of matchup here. Let's talk about Joey B,
We'll see what the Steelers are this week.
Right, we will. Joey B came in last week through 3 consecutive interceptions.
Yeah, it's not good.
Right?
Back
to back. But guess what?
What?
Then he put the team on his shoulders, and he nearly won the game. It was really interesting to see him just put that away. Didn't have a great fantasy day, and obviously we're not going to start him. But I love that about him, that, he still drove the field. He was still fighting. He made some mistakes. I really think this guy's going to be a decent player in this league for a long time. I don't know that he'll ever be a star.
Well, it's going to be difficult playing in Cincinnati on that team.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
Joey Mixon had the big week 1. Week 2 was back to normality. You got to play him in an RB2, but I wouldn't be super excited about it. Higgins and Jamar Chase, both of them has scored in each game, so I guess you continue to play them, right? Higgins has a touchdown in week 1, touchdown in week 2. Cool. Chase has a touchdown week 1, touchdown week 2. Cool. Chase had 100 yards week 1. All right. But they're both flexes, I guess. Tyler Boyd he did a Tyler Boyd thing last week. He had 9 targets, 7 catches, 73 yards. That's PPR money. But again, he's a flex. None of these guys are sexy.
Well, you got to have flexes too. Not everybody can be a star.
Not playing Uzuma or whatever, but Big Ben's got the peck. Even if he didn't, I don't know that you'd play him. So
no, of course not.
It's a hard pass. Naji Harris, honestly, man, I'm really not impressed. He caught 5 passes on 5 targets last week for 43 yards and a touchdown. That was really good. But running the football, 2.8 average, 3.8 average last week, it's just not enough. He had 14 points last week in a PPR, so I guess I'll allow it. But you're disappointed because you guys drafted him early. The receivers, if Big Ben doesn't play, I don't play any of these guys because I don't know who to play. Love Chase Claypool, 9 targets, 3 catches.
Well, let me ask you this.
Week. Yeah.
With Ben in there, hurting, he's got a pack. Mm-hmm. So, you got to figure the throwing motion is going to be involved. Mm-hmm. And he said there's pain. Mm-hmm. With Ben in there, a Ben who is not the same passer he has been, who is limited by an injury.
Agreed.
Do you play any of those guys with Ben
Deontay
starting?
Johnson 100%.
Ooh.
10 targets week 1, 12 week 2.
Okay.
All right, I'm playing him. Week 1, he only had 5 catches for 36 yards, but he scored a touchdown. Week 2, he had 105 yards. I would play him. Claypool is a flex if you're desperate. No, thank you.
Yeah, big play reliant.
Juju, same thing. 7 targets last week. I love it. 8 the week before. I love it. 10 total catches. Right? He does not yet have 100 yards.
Well, yeah.
So,
a lot of these guys don't at this point.
And Ebron failed to catch anything, so I guess that's a hard no on him too, and it's your game next.
All right. So you got Washington football team at the Buffalo Bills. Bills actually favored in this game, which is kind of cool. Dude, I got to tell you, the Beard may not get his gig back, to be honest with you.
Not?
So he came in, Tyler Heineke, I call him Heineken, of course, because it makes sense. Anyway, Heineke came in relief duty, threw a touchdown and a $122 against the Chargers. Had 119 rating, dude, in mop-up duty. So the first week that he is the starter, but it was a short week, playing against the Giants last Thursday night. Dude was 34 of 46. That's 74%, dude. 336 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Now, they eked out a dub, but look at the way the guy's playing. That's just on 1 week of one short week of work. And you remember how he took the Bucks to the end of the clock last year in the playoffs. Heineken may be the guy, so keep an eye on that guy. I'm not saying play him this week. I am saying pick him up and put him at the end of your bench, if he's even available at this point, because most waivers have processed. Antonio Gibson really hasn't impressed this year. Now he has a shoulder, has yet to get into the end zone, doesn't have a 100-yard game. I'm not going to tell you to sit the guy. If he plays, I think you got to play the dude. We haven't seen much out of the Bills' defense yet. I mean, Pittsburgh, as bad as they are, ran all over them week 1. They rebounded week 2 against, a Miami team that's just meh, right? So I'm not really sure that it's going to be a bad matchup for Gibson. I just don't like what he's done so far this year, and I don't like the fact that he's got a bum shoulder either. But I'll tell you, who is a big recipient out of this Tyler Heineke route here is that's my boy McLaurin. $107 and a touchdown last week. He had 4 catches the week before for 62, but that was mostly the Beard, right? So I think there's a great connection between Taylor and McLaurin. I'm going to play McLaurin absolutely. No big shock there. Logan Thomas is a decent tight end. He's not the top tier guy, but of course, he's going to be one of those as good as it gets type of guys. 5 catches, 46 last week, around 10 points. A touchdown and 3 catches a week before that. So he's going to be right around 8 to 12 points, but that's what you're going to get unless you go for one of the hefty guys that you're going to spend way too much on. Looking at the Bills, Josh Allen, absolutely you're going to play him. He has not been great this year. But you remember last year.
Couple tough matchups, though.
Yeah, the Dolphins' defense is stout enough, and the Steelers' defense is always
Very
good.
Very good.
But you remember last year, he didn't start really fast either, but he ended really, really well.
Yep.
So you can play. He was actually the top scoring quarterback in fantasy in the league.
He was last year, yeah.
So, yeah, and he didn't start out fast. Singletary is actually surprisingly playable. And, you know, if you've played fantasy football all over the past few years, you know that this guy has been a disappointment. He was a disappointment enough to the Bills where they went out and got Zach Moss a year after they drafted him. But he's been over 70 yards in the last 2 weeks, scored a touchdown against Miami last week.
Congratulations.
Has 8 targets on the year, 5 catches. So, yeah, he's easing up into RB2 territory, but he's at least a flex at this point.
Well, where did he get drafted? 6?
What round?
Yeah. 6?
No, I think it was earlier than that. I think he got drafted in like maybe the second or third.
Really? That high?
I think so. I may be wrong.
Fine.
Zach Moss was a healthy scratch in week 1, scored 2 touchdowns last week.
I like him because
against Miami.
He's a bulldozer. I like him.
He is. He's that guy. Only had 8 carries, but he did have the 2 touchdowns. So is that worth
Did
a
he
flex?
outscore Singletary?
Let's see.
I bet he did.
So this is our MBNFL league. So he had 16.1. That would be Singletary. And then Zach Moss, probably with the touchdowns. Nope, he had 15. So it was close.
It's close. All right.
Real
So,
close.
well, they're both startable in a flex.
Sure. Steph Diggs, obviously, you're going to play. In a PPR,
sure.
Beasley is startable as a flex, to be sure, but only in a PPR. Dawson Knox is one of those touchdown-reliant tight ends that, you know, catches one every now and again.
Streamable
tight end.
But don't be excited.
Yeah, I picked him up, plugged him in because
Sure.
I had, you know, some stiff in there.
Right.
And
That's fine.
it's, you know, rotating stiffs.
For sure.
You know?
That's what streaming is.
That's what streaming is.
Just
The
rotate
best
stiffs.
out of a bad lot of stiffs.
For sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about these Baltimore Ravens going up against these Detroit Lions. Lions getting 9.
You think this is a bounce back game? Like, you know, the Ravens will be thinking about clipping the Chiefs Sunday night?
It's possible. Lions that's a lot of points. I think that's a mistake. I would probably bet the Lions here, but don't listen to me. It's not financial advice. I just like the stock. Let's talk about Lamar Jackson, though. Everybody's criticizing him week 1. You know, he had 86 yards on the ground and 235 through the air. Everybody's like, you know, because he fumbled twice and everything.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, week 2, 239 through the air. Not great. 1 TD. Not great. 16 carries for 107 yards. Guess what? Play him. It's not even close. Tyson Williams had a decent week 2, 13 carries for 77 yards, 5.9 average. He averaged 7.2 the week before. He had a TD in week 1. I got to be honest, man, with what they're dealing with there, he's kind of not terrible.
That's a ringing endorsement.
Well,
he doesn't suck.
The problem is that Latavius Murray comes in as the veteran and scores all the touchdowns.
Yeah, he does.
You know, he's got a touchdown each week.
He's certainly more trustworthy.
He's going to do that again this week.
Yeah.
Probably both of them are fine for a flex. Hollywood scores every week. Apparently, he's a weekly start
Surprisingly playable.
All right. Well, I mean, if Lamar's going to throw a touchdown, it's probably going to be to Hollywood.
Probably.
So
it's certainly not going to be to Sammy Watkins.
It's not going to be, and you don't play him. He did have a decent week 1 with 96 yards, but he only had 4 catches. He had 4 catches this week, and it was 44 yards. So not that great.
But honestly, it's what Sammy does.
It is.
He does that, you know, in a 17-week season. He'll do that for 14 weeks and have 3 bust games that you can't play him because you don't know they're going to happen.
Right. Mark Andrews is one of the better tight ends in the league. Haven't seen it yet. He's got only 8 catches on the season. He's at 77 yards right now. I need him to get more involved. I'll play him for another week, but after that, we got to look for different options because the offense might be changing a little bit with the lack of running backs and Hollywood emerging and whatever.
Whatever it is, he ain't getting the points.
From Detroit. Goff was not horrible in either game, but you wouldn't play him. DeAndre Swift has actually been pleasantly average,
Not bad.
I guess,
Better than last year for some reason.
for sure. Jamal Williams scored week 1.
Yeah.
Quintez Cephas actually had a decent week 2,
Yeah.
but are you going to play him?
Good God, no.
I like Amon-Ra St. Brown a lot. He reminds me a lot of like Robert Woods, kind of the way he moves and stuff. Not going to play him. I will play Hawkinson, obviously.
Sure.
He's one of the better tight ends in the NFL. Only 24, by the way.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Bright future.
Well, he's got a bright present.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you want my advice, don't start Lions if you can avoid it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got them Chargers playing at the Chiefs. I tell you, the Chiefs looked as good as they ever do on Sunday night against the Ravens, but they couldn't get the W. I saw that this is the first time in a long time that the Chiefs didn't have at least a share of first place in that division.
Yeah.
Got a couple of 2-0 teams in there now.
Well, here's the thing, man. They'll be fine.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs will bounce back. Everybody's talking about how great Justin Herbert is, and you know what? They're not wrong. The thing is, though, I mean, he didn't get any help from his team with penalties and with drop passes against Dallas. He should have had way more than he
The
did.
fantasy numbers haven't been there, but the play has.
The play has, yeah. He had 338 yards, a touchdown, and a couple of picks against Dallas. But he was over 75% completion rate. Against Washington, he had 337 yards and a touchdown and a pick. But the way the guy throws the football and the amazing things he can do is just fun to watch. Now, of course, you drafted him to play. He's not unplayable against the Chiefs. The Chiefs don't have a great defense, and it's certainly going to be a high-scoring game. I think the over-under is like 55 points. So, yeah, definitely play Justin Herbert. Hopefully those fantasy numbers are fully realized this week in a shootout. Austin Eckler is he was like a second round, sometimes first round in a PPR draft pick, and you think, well, why all that love for him? He's not going to get you a lot of yards on the ground. He did have 15 carries week 1, but only 57 yards. Did score, but it's the receiving. He didn't have any targets or catches in the first game against Washington, but against Dallas, he had 9 targets and caught all of them. He had 61 yards there, so he had 100 total yards, didn't have a touchdown, but he also had 9 PPR points, so 19 points out of Eckler. Yeah, I'll allow it. So I would definitely play him against KC. He's part of that offense, absolutely, and in a PPR especially. He's a must go. Especially. Keenan Allen, of course, is a go. The guy that's kind of surprised me with his, dare I say, consistency, Mike Williams.
Dude, he's been amazing.
I know.
I was up against him in 2 leagues last week, and of course they're playing Dallas, so I'm like,
oh, this is going to be bad.
I'm like, oh man, like I need him to not score, but I also want Dallas to lose. So, and by the way, he scored and Dallas won, so everything went against me.
He's had 22 targets so far in the year. He's caught 15 of them, 8 one week, 7 the next, 82 and 91 yards, a touchdown in each game. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep playing him until his play tells me to stop. He's at least flexible, I will tell you that.
For sure.
Jared Cook is also a guy you can play. Yes, he's a tight end. No, he's not Travis Kelce, but he'll get you, 50 yards, maybe a touchdown every third week, something like that.
A few.
From the Kansas City side, surprisingly few guys that you're going to want to play here. It's weird. Obviously, you're going to play Mahomes. Obviously, you're going to play Reek Hill. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, apparently he had an ankle sprain in camp, and it's not really fully healed.
Dude, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I'm not seeing it out of him.
We're seeing the same thing we did last year. He had 14 carries in week 1 for 43 yards. That's a 3.1 average. Meh.
Yeah.
Guys get fired for less.
Yep.
He had 13 carries in week 2, 46 yards. That's a 3.5 average. A little bit better. But on that team,
I need more.
He's
I need
never
more production.
He's never going to see 8 in the box.
Dude, it's Mahomes. It's Reek. It's
Kelce.
It's Kelce.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you obviously can't
you bench
play
him
that
CEH.
guy. Well, yeah. I mean, unless you
People
don't have a
drafted
better
him,
option.
What, at the top end of the second?
Something, maybe third, but even that. And I'm one of them. I thought, well, it's the fourth round. This is at least not bad value. But now I have him in the Dynasty League. I drafted him like number 3 overall last year.
Well, I mean, that makes sense in a Dynasty.
Because I didn't know.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, the Dynasty League, though, like, you got to roll the dice on rookie.
You have to.
Rookie running back.
And coming out, I mean, running back on the Chiefs, how can you go wrong?
Right. I mean, the last one they had, Kareem Hunt, was pretty good.
It was all right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna sit him. I sat him last week.
Wow, did you? Brave.
I did, and I'm 2-0 in the Dynasty League, dude.
Good for you. I'm 1-1. I got Buzz beat me this week, I think.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Mecole Hardman, the number 2, should be a guy you want to play, right? He
fast.
is not.
But they're all fast. Byron Pringle is super fast, dude.
Right, but you can't count on these guys.
No.
I think
No.
Demarcus Robinson, every now and again he has a game, and
Great route runner,
He shows
also
up
really
on
fast.
the waiver wire. He had 46 yards and a touchdown last week.
Beautiful touchdown.
Yeah, it was great.
Beautiful.
Can't play him.
No.
So really, out of this, the best offensive team in the NFL, you can play 3 guys.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks.
It does. Speaking of best offensive teams in the NFL, Kevin.
Yes.
The Atlanta Falcons are taking on the New York Giants today. Or not today, but Sunday.
This weekend.
Yeah. Matty Ryan's a quarterback in the NFL. At least he threw touchdowns this week. 300 yards.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns. Not going to play him. Even though it's a great
can't.
matchup. Great matchup. I might roll the dice on Mike Williams because they're playing the Giants.
Mike Williams?
Or sorry, Mike Davis.
Yeah.
And Cordell Patterson. But again, these are like sketchy dice rolls, right? These are daily fantasy things, flexes if you're beat up injury wise. But I wouldn't play them normally.
Yeah.
Ridley, you have to continue to play. I mean, 8 targets week 1, 10 targets week 2, caught 7 of them week 2 for a touchdown. Week 1 started out really well, only ended it with 5 points in a PPR. 10 points in a PPR.
5 catches.
5 catches. But he did considerably better in week 2, and almost 20 points out of a wide receiver. You got to accept it. So I'll allow that. Russell Gage, you can't play. Kyle Pitts, I know a lot of you drafted him early.
We told you.
I mean, listen.
We told you.
Listen, he did catch 5 passes on 6 targets. He had 8 targets week 1, 6 on week 2, 5 for 73. That's 12 points in a PPR. 7 the week before. Okay, but I want to see more out of this guy.
People are saying it's Kelsey, then it's Pitts.
Right.
Like, no.
I don't know. Where you drafted the guy, he's got less than 20 points so far.
Yeah.
I don't know. Unless you had a keeper league, I think it's a mistake. Let's go over to the Giants. Danny Dimes. Dare I say it against this defense? I don't know, man.
Let me tell you something. I had him in the Dynasty League. I had him, Jalen Hurts, and Kyler Murray.
Shame on you.
I'm like, I'm going to jettison one of these quarterbacks. I think I might have jettisoned the wrong one.
Did you jettison Danny Dimes?
I cut Danny Dimes. Kept Jalen Hurts.
I would have done that too, but I don't blame you.
Yeah.
For feeling that way.
As it turns out.
Only 1 touchdown each week passing, and his passing numbers are pedestrian. 267 and 249, right? But he ran for a touchdown week 1 on 27 yards. Ran for another touchdown week 2 on 95 yards.
And he didn't trip on either of them.
He did not.
Turf Monster did not get him.
He has been sacked 6 times.
Well, that's not his. Well, probably not all his fault.
I should just, he doesn't have any picks. He did lose a fumble week 1 against Denver. He's got 2 L's. I think they're going to move on from him at some point, but I got to be honest, from a fantasy perspective, this is not a bad week to start Danny Dimes.
If you gotta. I'll tell you what, he'll be cheap in DFS. That's for damn sure.
I think it's a decent go. Same thing for Saquon Barkley. Obviously, it's a very different situation. You drafted him very high. I know everybody's super upset. He hasn't scored yet. He's only been targeted 6 times over the year. They're going to get him more involved, and I did see it last week with that 41-yard run. I saw it.
Yeah,
there it is again.
Right. You saw
Now-
it there, but you didn't see it much anywhere else during
You
the
didn't,
game.
but at least I saw, like, I was like, okay, there's that burst of speed. There's him getting down the sideline. I'm okay with it.
That kind of running, you're going to see it. What he's missing, and hopefully he gets it back, is the the hole's there instead of where I'm supposed to be going, and he just boom
I
through
think
that
it
hole.
just takes time.
Maybe.
I would obviously continue to play him. Maybe he's not an RB1 right now, which is where you drafted him, but he's certainly flex worthy, especially in this matchup. So actually, Atlanta's not terrible against the run.
They're not.
But I would still play him. I mean, what, you gonna play Devontae Booker?
No, you're just going to avoid Giants running backs altogether.
Kenny Galladay's a hard pass. As much as I love him, a lot of targets, no yards, no points. Sterling Shepard, however,
Yeah.
19 targets over 2 games. He's got 16 receptions. He's got a touchdown in there. He's got over 200 yards. Surprising, maybe, but, he's pretty good. And Kyle Rudolph, we're not going to play, but, he's got a cool name.
Yeah. So you got the Bears and the Browns, right?
The Bears.
Browns are actually favored in this game, which is kind of different for Browns fans to be favored in games.
Well,
I'm teasing.
when you
JK.
got a rookie quarterback starting.
Well, I think we just found out today that Dalton's out. He's got a bone bruise in his knee.
Yeah.
So you're going to get Justin Fields, which, a lot of people have been clamoring for, as I said before. So week 1, he came in for a couple plays, threw a couple passes, ran for 3 yards, scored a touchdown week 1. He was just coming in for, change of pace. Here's this guy that you haven't game planned for, blah, blah, blah. Week 2, when Dalton goes out, he had the actual chance to play, all offensive snaps after that injury. He was 6 of 13, which is 46%. That's not good. He did have 60 yards on, so average 10 per. Had a pick. Ran for 31 yards on 10 carries. So, as he's the starter, maybe we're going to see him begin to get more comfortable in that position. I'm not going to start him, and until I actually see even a mediocre game out of the guy.
For sure.
But a full game out of him as starter. I think it's going to be good. I think if you drafted him, especially in a keeper league, I think you're going to enjoy having Justin Fields. Just not week 3 in a redraft league. Sorry. David Montgomery is a guy I'm absolutely going to play. With a rookie quarterback in there, especially one who runs, it's going to take away some of his opportunities maybe, especially if they do designed runs. Montgomery had 20 carries last week, which is great. Only had 61 yards. That's an average of 3.
3.
Not good. Did catch 3 passes as well. I don't know if it was the matter that Dalton was out and they brought Fields in and the game plan went out the window. Who knows? Montgomery's a guy I'm going to continue to play, though. We saw him be really, really good at the end of last year and pretty good at the beginning of this year as well. So basically feature running backs are almost impossible to find in the NFL now. He's one of them. I'm going to play Allen Robinson, absolutely. I might be tempted to play Cole Kmet, dude. Just because it's so hard to find a tight end. But really, the guy's only been targeted 8 times and caught 6 of them.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but he only has 42 total yards on the season. So you probably
That's pretty bad.
You probably have a better option elsewhere,
I would
but
think so.
he gets thrown to some. So tough on this team, dude. It's Montgomery and Robinson. From the Cleveland side, a little bit more to sink your teeth into. Baker Mayfield is questionable, oddly with a pec. So you have 2 quarterbacks out of the same division with the pec injury. Baker Mayfield hasn't been great this year. Had 321 yards in week 1, a pick, no touchdown. Last week against Houston, he had a pick and a touchdown, but only 213 yards. I think this is his game, though, dude. He's going to give you a couple blow-up games a year, but he's going to be right around 250 yards, touchdown or 2, and a pick. So, yeah, I mean, if you drafted him to play, he was not an early draft pick by any stretch of the imagination in anybody's league.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're counting on him in a 2-quarterback league, maybe. But I'm in a 2-quarterback league, and I'm playing 2 gloves and Kirk Cousins, and Baker's riding the pine. That's how we get it done.
Fair enough.
I'm going to play Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, obviously. Both of those guys are playable. Sorry to see Jarvis Landry on the IR, dude.
Yeah,
He's got an
hurt.
MCL injury.
Yeah.
The good news
Not a tear,
is,
though, right? It was a sprain?
I think it was a sprain, but I don't think he's on season-ending IR.
Yeah.
I hope. So we'll see. Odell Beckham, actually, full participant in practice today.
Uh-oh.
So he has not been ruled out for this week. So even though my list here says out or oot, we'll see. If he plays,
For sure.
I would absolutely play the guy
sure.
against Chicago. Austin Hooper, David Njoku,
How dare you? Njoku's the best tight end
in the
in
NFL.
the NFL. Dude, Saints taking on the Patriots. Patriots giving up 3 in this one.
Is this a must-win for the
at
Saints?
home. No, it's too early. Who cares? It's must win. Like, you know.
Every game is must-win, Lyle.
No, it's not. Nobody goes undefeated. It's okay if you lose. Everybody, all Eagles fans are like, game's over. It's over. Guess 2017 when they won a Super Bowl, they started 1-1.
So
They lost to the Chiefs week 2.
on Sunday, I sent Lyle a text. I'm like, maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did
We
you
do-
see? Did you
we
see
do it every
the
year.
thing on Reddit? It was like basically paralleling the
I did not.
so 2017 and now. It's like, you know,
Oh, really?
Week 1 beat up on a weak conference opponent.
Right.
Week 2 lose to a tough AFC team or whatever it was.
Right.
So they basically just
Well,
go.
the 49ers are an AFC.
Right. But anyway, it was a West Coast team or whatever.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
okay.
So they all, you know, like you can see the rest of the season.
I mean, it was a winnable game, but San Francisco played it really well. They made no mistakes, and their defense was amazing. So
Right, but I'm saying, if you can find this on, it's probably on Eagles
I'll look
subreddit.
it up.
It's interesting. I don't buy it, but it's interesting.
Yeah, they're an average team, and they beat up on a really bad
At best,
team week 1.
at best.
So Jameis Winston, and let's talk about him. We're not going to play him, but 5 TDs in week 1 is compelling. 0 and 2 picks in week 2 is not as compelling. New England has a pretty good defense, especially against fantasy quarterbacks, so I'm going to say a hard pass right now, and we will continue to do that. But keep them on your bench. Let's see what happens. They're still figuring stuff out. Kamara had 5 yards rushing
Oof.
week 2. That might be part of the problem.
Yeah, how many carries?
8.
Yeah.
He had 20 week 1.
How are you going to give Alvin Kamara 8 carries?
7 targets so far. Had 25, week 2, but 25 yards week 2. But it's not enough. Obviously, you're going to play Kamara. It's a hard pass to pretty much everyone else on the team. I like Marquez Callaway. Not yet. I like Deandre Harris. Not yet. Juwan Johnson had 2 touchdowns week 1. It was amazing.
He is as compelling as any other tight end, not named
6'4",
Kelsey or Waller.
231, a giant dude. 2 touchdowns week 1. It was amazing. Week 2, he caught 1 pass for 3 yards.
Yeah.
They got to do better. It's Kamara or bust on that team right now.
Pretty much.
From the Patriot side, it's kind of less than that.
So less than one guy?
I mean, are you going to start Mac Jones?
No.
Damian Harris scored. Okay.
I'll start him.
Okay. He
In
had
fact,
100
I am
yards
starting
week
him.
1. He scored a touchdown week 2. Okay. I'll start him. James White, 6
Yeah.
for 45 through the air, 7 for 49. In a PPR, he's probably
PPR,
not
maybe.
a bad flex.
Yeah.
Okay. Jacoby Myers, I want to love. Hard no. Nelly. He caught a touchdown week 1. I just can't. Love Jonnu Smith. No. Love Hunter Henry. No. I'm not playing him.
And it's the Jets at Broncos, ladies and gentlemen.
How are we at the Patriots where we're like, maybe one guy?
Well, yeah. I mean,
It's crazy, man.
there was a guy who used to be quarterback there. It was pretty good.
Blom Crady?
Something, yeah.
Drum,
Mr. Giselle.
Snady.
Anyway, Jets at Broncos. Broncos are a 10.5-point favorite against these Jets at home in the Mile High. Dude, you know, people were like, Zach Wilson's the second coming of I don't know who, but dude, first week he had 250 yards. He had 2 touchdowns and a pick. Then he looked all right against Carolina.
Yeah.
Barely lost 14-19, right? Week 2, Dude, I think his first 3 passes got nestled right into the arms of the Patriots defense. He threw 4 picks, bro.
It was not good, yeah. It was not good.
Yeah, 210 yards. He recovered. I mean, you still have to trot out there, right? But not good for Jet fans. Not good for anybody who was silly enough to get a share of Zach Wilson and play him. I will say, though, dude, Michael Carter, he got 11 carries. He actually looked pretty good. He only had 59 yards, caught a couple for 29. I'm not saying play him this week, but if you got him, hang on to him. Don't drop him just because he's on a lousy team.
Yeah.
Because he's going to get opportunities. And maybe at some point, as Zach Wilson gets more, settled into the role, maybe this team will be able to do something. He's got some weapons. Carter's pretty good. Corey Davis is a really good receiver. Crowder's a really good receiver. I know he's got issues right now, but Elijah Moore is a pretty good receiver. So he's got some guys around him that can actually do something. So hang on to Carter. I'm not going to play any of these receivers. In fact, I'm going to sit this whole damn team, to be honest with you.
Yeah, okay. There we go. You could have got there a lot quicker.
Yeah, but, we're a talk show, dude. You have to talk. Anyway, from the Broncos side.
Show?
It is.
Oh, no.
From the Broncos side, dude, Teddy Two Gloves is playable.
Not only is he playable, he's playable.
He is. 264 and a couple touchdowns in week 1 against the Giants. That's not hard to do. Okay, another weak opponent. 228, 2 touchdowns against Jacksonville in week 2. Actually ran the ball a few times in both of these games. So, I'm not saying it's an awful matchup. It's a great matchup.
Mm-hmm.
In a 2 quarterback system, like I was just telling you about, I'm playing him. I've actually gotten points out of him. I like the matchup, and I like what he's doing. I think the offense is tailored around his strengths.
Yeah.
And I love to see it. I think he's a good quarterback. He's not going to win MVP. He's probably not going to make a Pro Bowl. But I think he's steady in this offense.
As an alternate.
Maybe. As everybody else says, no, I don't want to go. He'll get pulled in.
They're already in the playoffs.
Yeah, something like that. So Mel Gordon, he had a great week 1.
Week 2 was not great.
Not so much. 2.4 average. Didn't get into the end zone, blah, blah, blah. I still think you have to play the guy. Great matchup this week. You need running backs, and he's a guy who has and will have good weeks again. I don't know about Javonte Williams, dude. I like the guy, but he just hasn't.
Everybody said he was going to take over from Mel Gordon.
And he might, but just not this week. He has to have a game.
Seen it yet.
These receivers are banged up in a big way. Cortland Sutton is questionable with the hip.
Hurt.
Yeah.
Judy's hurt.
Dude had a $159 last week.
Mm-hmm.
Love that Sutton dude.
Me too.
Judy's he's out 4 to 6 weeks with an ankle. This would be the second week of that 4 to 6. Tim Patrick had caught a touchdown last week
and won you $5.
Won me a $5. He's got a hip too. So both Sutton and Patrick have hips. No offense, he's questionable with an ankle, and if he plays, you have to play him. He's one of the back end of the second tier tight ends, but certainly better than say anybody else in the third tier.
I think he's really good.
He is.
We don't see the numbers. I mean, who's the quarterback, all that kind of stuff. But if you put him on, a good team. If Kelsey got hurt and Noah Fant was his backup, I think he'd be amazing.
Sure, but he's not, and he's not.
I know.
So he'll get you the occasional touchdown, but he may get more opportunities and a bigger target share because the receivers are banged up. We'll see.
Oh, are you done?
Yeah.
Dolphins taking on the is that my game? Yeah, Dolphins Raiders. Yes, sorry. Dolphins taking on the Vegas Raiders. I can't believe the Raiders are only given 4 points in this.
Are they in Miami?
No, they're in Vegas. And Tua's out.
I don't know. Maybe that's not a detriment.
Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know, but you got the Jacoby Brissett show.
Yeah.
Apparently, he came in and was 24 of 40 for $1.69 and a pick.
Yeah.
It's Jacoby-like numbers.
It's Tua-like numbers.
You got Myles Gaskin there.
Yeah, you do.
Salvan Ahmed.
You're not scaring me with any of these players.
Waddle had a decent week 1 and average week 2. I like his progression. 8 targets and then 5 week 1. Okay.
All right.
Devontae Parker exists.
Really good practice player.
Will Fuller 5 coming back. Gesicki. You playing a Dolphin?
I'm not.
You playing a Dolphin?
Dude,
Against the Raiders. Are you playing a Dolphin?
You know when Gesicki was good? When the Beard played for Miami.
Gesicki was really good when he played for Penn State.
Yes, he was.
He was not good after that.
And the answer is no, I'm not playing a Dolphin.
Yeah, I think I got to fade the whole team. It's crazy.
Maybe Gaskin.
Raiders, on
maybe
the other
not.
hand.
Lots to love.
Derek Carr, 4 TDs, 2 in each game. He's got 1 pick. That was week 1 against Baltimore.
Sorry, it's Ballmer.
I got to admit, man, I kind of love him in this game. Apparently Josh Jacobs is what I read was he was quote unquote very questionable. The hell is this now? Doubtful doesn't exist anymore, but we got very questionable.
No, probable doesn't.
Oh,
exist
probable
anymore.
doesn't. Right,
Doubtful
does.
exists,
Okay,
yeah.
but still, what the hell are you doing?
Very
Is he going to
questionable.
play or not?
I don't know. I would say if you're very questionable, you're leaning toward doubtful.
But so there's a mid-grade now? I swear to God I saw that in an article. He was very questionable.
It's like being very unique.
That means you got the Kenyon Drake and Peyton Barber show. Barber had 13 carries last week. Drake only had 7.
How many yards did Barber have?
32. 2.5 average.
Yeah.
It's a hard no. If Jacobs plays, play him.
Yeah.
Other than that, no. I'll tell you who I would play is friggin' Henry Ruggs.
Yeah.
46 on week 1, okay, but 7 targets, 5 catches week 2, a $113 and a snee.
That's a touchdown to you and me. He looked good.
He did look good. He's fast. Again, Alabama, dude. These receivers out of Alabama, dude. They're all over the NFL right now. Is this my computer that's making these noises?
I don't know. Not mine.
I kind of like Hunter Renfrow in a PPR. Probably not like my regular league, but in a daily format, 9 targets and 7 week 1 and 2. He's
DraftKings is a full PPR, so you get 3 wide receivers and a flex
true,
there.
dude. Week 1, 13. Week 2, 10 points. Right, so 23 points total over 2 weeks. You need a flex. I don't think he's horrible. He's also not great. Brian Edwards had a decent week 1.
I mean, he's not horrible, but he's not great. Okay, well, he's kind of hanging there somewhere in the middle.
The receiver on this team really is Darren Waller.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so that's the guy that we're playing, but I like Ruggs too. But
You mean Renfrow?
No, I like Ruggs.
I see.
Renfrow's okay in a PPR. I'm just mentioning him because it's my job on the show.
How about Zay Jones? How do you feel about Zay?
I wouldn't play him. Would you play him?
No.
I mean, talk to me about how you like his 2 receptions week 1 and nothing week 2.
Well, the reception week 1 was the game winner.
Sure, great play. I liked him when he was on Buffalo. I thought he was going to be a star.
Yeah.
There.
Apparently, it takes more. Are you done with that game?
Yeah,
You done?
I am.
Ah, all right.
I went to the tight end. I tried to hand it off to you.
I'm sorry.
And you were like, "What about Zay Jones?" What about random other player, Kevin?
Bucks at Rams, Lyle.
Yeah.
Bucks are only favored by a point
the
and a half.
Rams. What about Daryl Henderson?
I'll get to him. I'm going to talk about Tampa first.
What about Todd Gurley for the Rams?
Are you being childish now? It sounds like to me you're being childish.
I'm not being childish.
Tom Brady is a guy you're going to play. Dude, is it
Dude, where was he drafted?
6th round?
Really, Brady was? That's early.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Is it possible that this guy is actually better at 44 years old than he was at, I don't know, say 34?
No.
Or 24?
No, he's not better. But he's as good.
Dude's got 9 touchdowns. He had 5 touchdowns
He's
against
as good.
Atlanta.
He's proving that at the quarterback position, if you have the right person intellectually and run the scheme, you can win
Football games.
with less athletic talent. You have to be able to make the throws, and you have to be intelligent enough to read
Sure.
the defense and stuff. But he clearly doesn't have the athletic talent that Mahomes or
Oh, absolutely.
Like, he just doesn't have that anymore.
Right.
But it doesn't matter.
Right, because he knows right where the blitz is coming from.
And he can still throw a football.
And he can throw the football as long as he needs to.
It's crazy. It's crazy talk.
Right now, if there was an MVP vote,
He'd be number 1.
he'd be the guy getting it. But, yeah, dude, he got 9 touchdowns, 2 picks. He threw 2 picks week 1 against Dallas. Ronald Jones apparently got the starting running back job last week. He celebrated by getting 6 carries for 27 yards. Congratulations, Ronald. Sorry about your luck there, buddy. Can't play him. Fournette, even though he's not the starter, seems to be the busier back. He had 11 carries last week for 52 yards, caught 4 passes for 24. He's the guy you want to get if you feel the need to play a running back. I have him in a league or two. I'm not playing him. I have better options. Evans, Godwin, absolutely. You got both of them. Play them both.
Either one. And AB, if he comes out of COVID protocol.
If he's I played him last week and he didn't perform as well as I had hoped.
I'd still put him in a flex.
But I'm playing him no matter what. I'm not going to play Scotty Miller, but the top 3 guys here, absolutely. Too. I do too.
If one of those other guys go down and Miller goes in, I'd play him too.
Absolutely. Gronk is,
Isn't it weird,
playing
dude?
Crazy, just 2 touchdowns a week. And
isn't it weird how you have a team last year, the Bucs, who nobody had as a front runner, right? Even when they went to the playoffs, you're like, oh, well, Brady's there. But there's a lot of good teams, They win a Super Bowl, and they come back the next season. And all of a sudden, everybody's like, yeah, they're the best team in the NFC. And they are. And you're like, that's that whole winning is contagious thing.
Yeah. Well, some point in the middle of the season, like right past the middle point of the year, it all clicked. Arians kind of figured out Brady.
Yep.
Brady figured out Arians. Everybody meshed together.
That's what I
the
love
whole
about
thing,
football.
and they haven't lost since.
They really haven't.
They literally haven't.
Oh, really? They haven't lost a single game?
Well, not since I can't remember what week it was, but they marched through the regular season, marched through the playoffs, and they're 2-0 this year.
That's the thing, dude. If you give Brady the ball with X amount of time on the clock and a chance to win the game, he's usually going to win the game.
It's rare that he doesn't. In fact, when he doesn't, you're like, the hell happened?
Yeah. The Eagles in the Super Bowl, we were like, it's an incomplete pass. I'll allow it. Hoist that trophy now.
Yeah,
Before he comes back on the
Lyle's
field.
looking at me like there's like 3 seconds left. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, he's like, don't say a word.
Yeah. You're going to play Gronk, of course. You're going to play the 2 top wide receivers, and Brown if he's back. Fournette maybe in a flex, and Brady absolutely. The Rams also have a pretty good thing going there. Stafford is a guy you're going to want to play. A lot of people didn't think he was going to get it done, but dude, he was over 300 yards in week 1, just under 300 yards in week 2. 5 touchdowns, 1 pick.
I'll allow it.
Yeah. So, and he's not throwing the ball that much, actually. He only has 39 completions over the past couple weeks.
Doesn't have to. Got a little bit of a running game there. Got a little bit of a defense.
And you might go, well, his completion percentage is terrible. It was 77% week 1.
That's awesome.
63% week 2.
That's
not
pretty
as
good.
Well,
Still
63 is
pretty
all right.
Yeah. 65 is like the NFL.
Right.
That's like the cutoff.
But see, Drew Brees up at like 90%. It wasn't that, but it was high.
Yeah, it was high.
Yeah,
it was
kinda
probably like 77.
Kind of ruins it for everybody else.
Yeah.
Daryl Henderson, you asked about him before, Lyle. He's questionable with ribs.
He is.
But
he's played well, man.
He's hit the end zone twice, one in each week. He's getting the carries, too, 16 and 13. So, yeah, absolutely play him. Not a great matchup for him, but, again, he's going to get most of the carries. Sony Michel gets a few. But
he's
it's
in,
Henderson.
I'll play him.
Indeed. Dude, it seems like Stafford is one of those quarterbacks who kind of zeroes in on a guy, trusts him, and goes for him.
Yeah.
We saw it in Detroit. Marvin Jones, he was that guy.
Yeah.
Megatron was that guy, and who wouldn't want to
Turns out it's
zero in
Cooper
on
Kupp
him?
here.
Cooper Kupp here.
Good Lord.
And he has a lot of guys to choose from, but, dude, Cooper Kupp, week 1, $108 and a touchdown. Week 2, $163 and 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Apparently they had breakfast together every day.
Well, they're certainly eating up the competition.
Okay.
God,
damn it, I wish you wouldn't do that.
I have to, man. Robert Woods, he had a touchdown in week 1, but he's clearly not the favorite. He's not the teacher's pet. I'm going to continue to play him because maybe at some point Stafford will look somebody else's direction.
For sure.
Van Jefferson caught a long touchdown in week 1. Deshaun's not doing too much. You'd think maybe Tyler Higbee would be a tight end you could play. You'd be mostly wrong. He had 68 yards in week 1, but had a catch in week 2, so he's just a guy.
That hurts my feelings.
It does.
Seahawks, Vikings. Vikings getting 1.5 in this one. The over-under is 55.5, Kevin. good. It's the highest I've seen this week.
I think Chiefs Chargers is 55 too.
Is it?
I think so, yeah.
All right, fair enough. Gonna play Russell Wilson. Obviously, his QB rating has been 152.3 and then 128.8. He's got no picks, no fumbles, over 600 yards. He's got 6 touchdowns. He's pretty good. Yes, they lost last week against Tennessee, but Russell balled out.
Well, they got Derrick Henry.
They
what
did.
They got.
Do you think Russell Wilson's a Hall of Famer already?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he is too. I think he's got the jacket.
Yeah. Well, what is it? You got standard.
Has not won a ring.
Yeah, he has.
Oh, they did. Yeah, that's right.
Almost won 2. If
That's right.
they actually called a running play with beast mode.
That's right. Yeah, I
It's on
forgot
you,
about
Pete
that.
Carroll.
I forgot about that.
Or Bevel.
That's right. So he did win it. He was, yeah. So he did.
So he's got the rings. He hasn't been MVP, I don't think.
No, but he's been
really
in the
pay attention to
conversation
that, but
for certain every year.
I think he's got over 3,000 yards, or 4,000 yards several years in a row. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think
he is too.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a first year guy,
First
ballot
He's
guy,
a first ballot. He is. By the time he retires, for sure.
Yeah. He's got years left too, so.
I mean, with Brady out there now, he might have 10 years left. Who knows? I mean,
Brady's talking about playing till 50.
He might, and he might be good. It makes me crazy.
Are you all right over there?
No,
it sounds like you're having a conniption.
It doesn't make sense.
You're having a conniption.
It doesn't make sense. The guy, we're talking about Brady now. He won the Super Bowl last year, Super Bowl MVP, comes back. He's right now the front runner. It's only 2 games, but he's the front runner for MVP right now. He doesn't look like he's slowing down at all.
Dude, you're the same age as him. You look awful.
Dude,
comparison.
Yeah, I'm like 100. I look like Larry David compared to him. That's what I look like. Anyway, Chris Carson, I think you will play. He had 2 touchdowns last week. He's getting some carries. The yardage was not great last week, but he got in the end zone twice again. He's your RB2. You're going to play him. Metcalf, 11 targets last week, only six catches. Only 6 catches.
Freudian slip.
53 yards, but he did score week 1. We're going to play Metcalf, obviously. Tyler Lockett has absolutely been crushing.
So, week 1, okay, that's what Tyler does. Week 2, I'm like, there's no way he does it a second time.
He did 69-yard touchdown week 1, 63-yard touchdown week 2. And by the way, he added several other catches on there. 11 targets, 8 catches last week. I think we'll allow it.
Keep doing it till he tells you to stop.
Gerald Everett did score week 1, but he's only got 3 catches on the season. That's a hard pass from me. For the Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins is actually quietly doing some damage too. He's got 5 touchdowns on the season, Kevin. He's got close to 600 total yards. I'll allow it. Dalvin Cook has looked extremely dangerous every time he touches the football. He had the big fumble week 1, unfortunate. And they're 0-2, so they're desperate right now.
And he's banged up a little bit.
He is, but 20 carries week 1, 22 carries week 2, and 131 yards on the ground. They need to get him a few more passes. Week 1 he had more than week 2. Anytime he's on the field, you're going to play him. If he doesn't play, everybody's like, Alexander Madison. I don't think so.
It's not the same. It's
not.
Close.
They both have dreadlocks. That's about where, and they both play running back. That's about where it ends.
They both live in Minnesota.
For sure. Well, I don't know that they live in Minnesota. They play in Minnesota.
Why wouldn't you live in Minnesota?
I don't know. Maybe they live in the suburbs, man. Jefferson and Phelan, you have to play both of these guys. It may be the best wide receiver tandem in the NFL outside of Tampa, because I think Tampa's is pretty good. I don't know. There's another one that is. But both of these guys are extremely good. Jefferson got in the end zone last week. Phelan has 3 touchdowns on the year somehow. He's 31, and, he's just catching passes left and right. 17 targets for him, 19 targets for Jefferson. I mean,
so catching passes left and right.
Left and right. KJ Osborne actually has been as well. He's got 15 targets on the season, and he scored a touchdown last week on 91 yards. Keep an eye on him. Not a bad waiver wire ad. And we're not going to play the tight ends. Tyler Conklin has a nice man bun. But other than that,
you pay attention to those things?
Six catches in the NFL. So,
all right,
or this season.
So the Monday nighter is the Packers at the 49ers.
That is not the Monday nighter. That's
No,
the
it's
Sunday.
the Sunday nighter.
Sunday.
My B. So the 49ers hosting the Packers. Niners are actually favored by 3.5. Interesting. So you got Aaron. You're going to play him. Yeah, I mean, everybody was like, is he still playable? Has he hit the wall? Yeah, week 1 he didn't do very well. We know this. It's been well documented. Week 2, 4 touchdowns, 255 yards. Aaron's all right. Aaron's going to bounce back. Aaron's fine. You could definitely want to play him. Aaron Jones, 4 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 2 through the air. Got me past Brian Lyon. Love that. Dude had 38 points in our NBNFL league, bro. Only 67 yards on the ground, 48 through the air. I actually had 1 rushing touchdown and 3 receiving touchdowns. Thank you, Aaron. Plus, he post-game, I guess his father just passed away, and he had a necklace with a football with his father's ashes in it.
Oh, wow.
And he
cool.
lost it in the end zone. I think the last touchdown. And, that grass is just it's crazy.
Yeah.
If you've not seen real turf, it's like there's crushed up tires, and you see when guys drag their toes, all this stuff is like crushed rubber comes up. And I guess it kind of nestled in there. Finally, they found it. But good for him. Anyway, so obviously both Aarons you're going to play. Devontae Adams you're going to play absolutely. Tanyan is one of the better tight ends in the league. He is absolutely touchdown dependent, but
he scores a lot of them.
He does. He's got 1 on the year. He scored against Detroit last week. Caught all 3 of his targets for 52 yards. Had that touchdown. He's into double digits. That's all you can ask for in a tight end in the NFL now. Cobb caught a couple, whatever, but really it's the Aarons and Devontae and Mr. Tanyan. Looking at the Niners, Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know, man. I mean,
he's efficient and he doesn't make a lot of mistakes, but he does not put up the numbers either.
You're right. He completed 17 passes week 1 for 314 and a touchdown. That looks pretty good.
Yep.
Against Philly, he only completed 22 for $189. Did have a touchdown. No picks in either game. Actually ran a touchdown in against Philly, which was weird.
That was a sneak.
Yeah, it was. So I'm not saying play him, but really, if he's in your second quarterback in a 2-quarterback league, he's not going to throw picks and kill you there. But I don't really want to recommend him in a big way to start if he's your only quarterback to play. The running backs, I don't know, man. I mean, you got Elijah Mitchell there, who week 1
hurt though, right?
He had a $104 and a touchdown. Yeah, he's dinged up a little bit. And if he plays,
maybe
he had 42 yards and 17 on 17 carries last week.
Devonta Freeman saw it. So actually, no, that was for Baltimore. Never mind.
That was for Baltimore.
Dude, those 2 teams are so beat up. They're signing. I get confused by which ones because I saw that San Francisco signed somebody else today.
Right.
They signed 2 people. In fact, good Lord, I got to look it up because it was
like somebody
name,
thought was not even alive anymore.
It was a name that you're like, what? Yeah. Hold on.
Deebo Samuel, absolutely. Brandon Ayuk, maybe as a flex. We know that Green Bay's pass defense is suspect. Whoever's got King on them is going to have a big day.
They signed Chris Thompson. That's
right. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, they signed Chris Thompson.
Dude, I thought he retired long ago.
I mean, he might have, but his phone rang, and you're like, oh.
Put down the Xbox controller.
Yeah, I guess, and come in. I mean, he had a good year 5 years ago.
Yeah, he's had several of them as an RB2. George Kittle, not having the year that he has previously enjoyed. He's only been targeted at this point 9 times, but he's caught 8 of them. Hasn't gotten into the end zone yet. You have to figure that they're kind of missing out on that guy. But I would definitely play him. Debo, yes. Brandon, maybe. Mitchell, I guess, if he's healthy and is going to play, he's going to get the carries anyway. We've seen it. But really, that's it.
Yeah, I gotta fade them all. Yeah. Honestly,
yeah.
I mean, fantasy wise, other than Debo, I'm kind of
Kittle.
Really?
Well, at least he has
for sure. You have to start him, but
lower your expectations based on what we've seen so far.
I'm not seeing it right now. All right, Monday night tilt. Dallas
the Monday
Cowboys
nighter.
Hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Cowboys giving the Eagles 4 again. High over under here 51.
Well, you throw the records out the window when these two teams get together.
I guess so. Jalen Hurts, I would refrain from starting him unless you're in a 2-quarterback league. Did run for 82 yards and a touchdown last week. He will run for a fair amount. The passing, I'm just not sure yet.
So if he was a running back and got 82 yards and a touchdown last week,
you'd start him.
You'd start him.
Right, but at quarterback, you might have better options.
Maybe.
Miles Sanders and Kenny Gainwell. Gainwell's just not there yet. I like what I see out of him, but Sanders is getting a lot of carries, 15 attempts and then 13 week 2.
I was actually happy to see that they're running the ball in Philly.
Yeah, he's been over 4 per. He catches a few passes too. I would give him a nod at RB2 or a flex. The receivers, last week was tough to judge, but Devontae Smith was targeted 7 times, only caught 2 of them, unfortunately. Rager was only targeted 5 times. Again, only caught 2 of them. Watkins was the big winner last week with the 91-yard bomb.
But they squandered.
Still to get into the end zone, and then, So I don't think you can start any of these guys reliably. That goes for Goddard and Ertz as well. Just not enough targets to go around for me to gauge whether or not they're going to be focal points of the offense. I think that this is a young team that's trying to figure things out. And we'll know by week 6 who you can reliably play in this.
If anybody.
In this team. Right. From the Cowboys side, obviously you're going to play Dak. Didn't have any passing touchdowns. Didn't have any touchdowns at all week 2.
I think he had 4 points or something like that.
Something like that. It was not good.
Thanks,
Zeke
Dak.
did get in the end zone, which was awesome. In a standard league, he had 15 points. But Tony Pollard beat him. Tony Pollard had 13 carries for $109.
He is the better of the 2 backs.
Right now,
Just saying.
statistically speaking, that's true, Kevin. I think it's okay to play either of them. This is not a great matchup for either.
I don't know. Brandon Graham's not there anymore.
Yeah, they got a lot of defensive linemen though, so it's not great that you lose an All-Pro defensive lineman to an Achilles injury, but I think their defensive line will be fine. Their linebackers are okay. Yeah. I'd be much more worried about their secondary and CeeDee Lamb, who you absolutely have to play. 15 targets week 1, 9 week 2. He caught 7 and 8 respectively. He's had 100 yards week 1 and a touchdown, 81 in week 2. You absolutely have to play. He's clearly the focal point.
He gets
Cooper
targeted.
Has bruised ribs. So if he does play, obviously you play him, but you got to keep an eye on that. It's going to be a tough go because he's going to be Monday night. But if he plays, you got to play him. He had 17 targets week 1.
Ooh. Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay. They also, Michael Gallup, he's on IR. So
pick up Cedric.
Cedric Wilson Jr. apparently is the heir apparent. And we'll see. 6'5", $188 out of Boise State. We'll see. He's got 5 targets on the season. Caught all 5 of them, but not big numbers as of yet. And Blake Jarwin's probably not a tight end we're going to play. And those be your games, bitches.
Let's ride.
I love you. I mean it.
That was awfully quick.
It's 2 hours, man.
It's an hour and 36 minutes. So.
Did we not start until 5:30?
I don't know.
Were we just BSing?
Yeah, we were.
Yeah. It's late.
It's a little late.
I'm going to take a nap.
All right, then, kids. We'll be back on Saturday morning.
Saturday.
For the live show. If you want to get in on that, 650-733-8334. What did you say?
This one's live, too.
Well, it's a call-in show. It's the Q&A show.
It is, but this one's live. I mean, we're on
That's
Twitch
true.
right now.
We are.
Hi, Twitch.
All right, enjoy your week. Enjoy your Thursday game.
Yeah.
That would be the Thursday game.
Ought to be a snooze fest.
So why in the bloody hell are they putting the Panthers and the Texans on? I guess, they make the schedule thinking Watson's going to be there. Might not be a bad go.
Nobody made that schedule thinking Watson was going to be there. They did not.
How do you know? When they made the schedule up.
Come on.
I guess, at the end of last year, he was like, I'm never playing for Houston again. So who knows?
And then it turns out, a bunch of people accuse him of being an absolute monster. So.
Yeah. So, obviously a bad deal, but, From what I understand, they're calling people off of the couch to come play quarterback there. So, anyway, all right. Enjoy your whatever it is between now and then, and we'll talk to you then.
Peace out.
He loves you. He means it.
I do.
I like you just as a friend.
You're such a dick.
All right, Twitchers, we are out.